Nobody saw this coming. And now fans are asking one chilling question. Did love just turn deadly? What started as whispers behind closed doors has exploded into one of the most shocking and emotional celebrity scandals of the year. Sources are claiming that Yandy Smith was rushed into an emergency situation after what insiders are calling a devastating breaking point, and it all, allegedly, stems from a jaw-dropping betrayal involving her longtime partner, Mendeecees Harris, and none other than Tamar Braxton. Yes, you heard that right. Fans are stunned, social media is in chaos, and those closest to the situation say emotions ran dangerously high after rumors surfaced that Mendeecees secretly tied the knot with Tamar in what some are calling a calculated move that blindsided everyone, especially Yandy. But here's where things take a darker turn. Late last night, cryptic posts, frantic phone calls, and sudden silence sparked panic among fans. Then came the reports, some confirmed but spreading like wildfire, that Yandy may have attempted to harm herself after discovering the shocking truth. Friends are said to be deeply concerned, while insiders claim the situation escalated faster than anyone could control. Was this a cry for help, or the tragic result of betrayal pushed too far? And what about Tamar? Did she know the damage this would cause, or is there more to the story than anyone is admitting? As details continue to unfold, one thing is certain. This isn't just relationship drama anymore. This is a full-blown emotional crisis that has left everyone shaken. Stay with us because what we uncovered next will leave you speechless. The moment that message hit Yandy's phone, everything inside her seemed to collapse at once. Sources say she had been sitting quietly, scrolling through what looked like a normal evening feed, when a single photo changed everything. It wasn't just any photo. It was Mendeecees, standing beside Tamar, dressed in white, smiling in a way Yandy hadn't seen in months. And in that instant, fans say the world as she knew it shattered into pieces. Friends close to Yandy claim she froze completely. Her hands started shaking, her breathing became uneven, and she kept whispering one word over and over again: why? The room around her was filled with family chatter just moments before, but suddenly it turned into silence. One insider revealed that Yandy didn't scream at first. She didn't throw anything. She just stared, like her mind refused to accept what her eyes were seeing. Meanwhile, across town, Mendeecees was reportedly celebrating. Witnesses claim there was laughter, music, and what looked like a private gathering that quickly turned into something much bigger. Tamar, glowing and confident, was allegedly telling guests that this was her moment, that everything she went through had led her right here. But what shocked people the most was how calm Mendeecees appeared, almost like he knew the storm he had just unleashed, and didn't care. Back at Yandy's home, the energy shifted from confusion to devastation. One of her closest friends reportedly grabbed her phone and tried to confirm if the image was real or just another cruel rumor. But within minutes, more posts began surfacing. Different angles, different clips, the same undeniable truth. Mendeecees had moved on, and not quietly. Yandy finally spoke, but her voice was barely above a whisper. She said, "He promised me," and according to those in the room, that sentence broke everyone. Because it wasn't just about betrayal anymore. It was about years of loyalty, sacrifice, and standing by someone when no one else would. And now, it all felt like it meant nothing. Calls started pouring in. Family members, friends, even fans who somehow sensed that something was wrong. But Yandy didn't answer. She couldn't. Instead, she reportedly locked herself in her room, leaving everyone outside desperate and confused. Her sister was said to be banging on the door, begging her to open it, while another friend tried reaching Mendeecees directly, but he didn't pick up, not once. And that silence, that cold, calculated silence, only made things worse. On social media, the reaction was instant and explosive. Fans were shocked. Comments flooded in faster than anyone could keep up. Some accused Mendeecees of betrayal, calling his actions ruthless and heartless. Others questioned Tamar, asking how she could step into something so complicated without thinking about the consequences. But there were also those who speculated that this had been happening for a long time behind the scenes, that maybe this wasn't sudden at all, just finally exposed. Inside sources claim that Yandy had her suspicions, small things that didn't add up, late nights, distant conversations, moments where Mendeecees seemed emotionally checked out, but she chose to believe in their bond. She chose to trust him, and now, that trust had turned into the very thing that was breaking her. Hours passed, and the tension only grew heavier. Finally, the door opened. Yandy stepped out, her eyes red, her face pale, but her expression completely unreadable. One friend later described it as the scariest part of the night, because it wasn't anger, it wasn't sadness, It was something deeper, something they couldn't quite explain. She walked past everyone without saying a word, grabbed her keys, and headed straight for the door. Yandy, where are you going? Someone shouted, but she didn't answer. Outside, the air was cold, but it didn't seem to affect her. She got into her car, hands still trembling, and drove off before anyone could stop her. Calls were made immediately. People were trying to track her, to reach her, to understand what she was thinking, but she wasn't responding to anyone. And that's when things started to take an even darker turn, because at the same time, a cryptic post appeared on her account. No caption, just a black screen, and a single broken heart emoji. Fans noticed it instantly. The comments section erupted. People were asking if she was okay, if she was safe, if someone needed to check on her. But there was no response, no update, just silence. Meanwhile, at the celebration, whispers began to spread. Someone had seen the post. Someone mentioned that Yandy might not be handling this well. For a brief moment, the energy shifted. Tamar reportedly looked concerned, asking if anyone had heard from her. But Mendeecees, according to multiple witnesses, stayed quiet. One guest claimed he simply said, "She'll be fine." Those 3 words didn't sit well with anyone, because back on the road, Yandy's car was seen speeding through the city, her phone lighting up non-stop with calls she refused to answer. Tears blurred her vision, memories flooded her mind, and the weight of everything she had endured hit her all at once. Every promise, every sacrifice, every moment she stood by him. And now, this. What nobody realized in that moment was that Yandy wasn't just driving away from the situation. She was driving straight into a decision that would leave everyone completely shaken. And by the time anyone figured out where she was headed, it might already be too late. The road ahead of her blurred into streaks of light as her grip tightened on the steering wheel, her thoughts spiraling faster than the car itself. Insiders later said that Yandy wasn't thinking clearly anymore. She wasn't processing consequences. She was running purely on emotion. Raw, overwhelming, uncontrollable emotion. Her phone kept vibrating in the passenger seat, lighting up again and again, with names that once brought comfort but now only added pressure. Family, friends, even unfamiliar numbers. Everyone was trying to reach her, but she ignored them all. In her mind, there was only one voice echoing, his, "She'll be fine." Those words replayed like a cruel loop, cutting deeper each time. Fine. After everything. After years of standing by him when the world turned its back. After defending him, believing in him, building a life around him. And this was how it ended. A sharp breath escaped her as tears rolled down her cheeks, her vision momentarily clouding. She wiped them away quickly, but more followed. It was like her body had finally caught up to the pain her heart had been holding. Meanwhile, back at the house, panic was setting in. Yandy's sister was pacing, her hands shaking as she kept trying to call again and again. "She's not answering," she said, her voice cracking. This isn't like her. One of the friends tried to stay calm, but even they couldn't hide the fear creeping in. Did anyone check her location? Phones were pulled out, apps opened, and for a brief moment, there was hope. A blinking dot appeared. "She's moving," someone said. Fast. Back across town, the celebration had officially shifted. What started as laughter and excitement was now filled with tension and uneasy whispers. Tamar, who had been smiling just moments ago, was now sitting quietly, her expression unreadable. "I don't like this," she reportedly said, glancing at Mendeecees. "Something feels off." But Mendeecees leaned back, arms crossed, his face calm, almost detached. "People are overreacting," he replied. "Yandy is strong." That word again, strong. But what people often forget is that even the strongest person has a breaking point, and Yandy was dangerously close to hers. As the car sped down the highway, she suddenly slammed the brakes at a red light, her chest rising and falling rapidly. Her hands trembled as she looked at her reflection in the rearview mirror. Her eyes were swollen, her makeup smeared, her expression unrecognizable. How did it get here? She whispered to herself. A memory flashed in her mind. A promise made years ago. Loyalty forever, no matter what. She let out a bitter laugh. Forever, she repeated, shaking her head. The light turned green, but she didn't move right away. Shaking her head. The light turned green, but she didn't move right away. The cars behind her honked, snapping her back to reality. She pressed the gas again, but this time, slower, because now, a different thought had entered her mind, one that would change everything. At that same moment, her phone lit up again. This time, it wasn't a call, it was a message. From Mendeecees. She hesitated before picking it up, her fingers hovering over the screen like it might burn her. Finally, she opened it. "We need to talk." That was it. No explanation, no apology, no acknowledgement of what he had just done. Just, We need to talk. Her expression hardened instantly. Now you want to talk, she muttered, her voice filled with disbelief. For a second, it looked like she might respond. Her thumbs moved slightly, as if typing, but then she stopped, locked the phone, and tossed it back onto the seat. No, she said firmly. Not this time. Back at the gathering, things were escalating. More people were checking their phones, more whispers were spreading, and the tension was impossible to ignore. Someone pulled up Yandy's post again, showing it to Tamar. This doesn't look good, they said. Tamar's face fell slightly. Maybe I should call her, but before she could, Mendeecees stood up abruptly. No, he said, his tone sharper than before. I'll handle it. All eyes turned to him. Handle it how? Someone asked, but he didn't answer. Instead, he grabbed his jacket and headed toward the door. Back on the road, Yandy's car finally slowed to a stop. Not at a house, not at a friend's place, but at a quiet, isolated overlook just outside the city. The kind of place people go when they need to think, or when they don't want to be found. The engine idled as she stared out at the dark horizon, the city lights flickering in the distance like a reminder of everything she was leaving behind in that moment. Her breathing slowed slightly, but her mind was still racing. He chose her, she whispered, the words finally sinking in, and with that realization came a wave of pain so intense, it almost knocked the air out of her lungs. She reached for her phone again, her hands steadier now but her expression distant. She opened her messages, scrolled through old conversations, old memories, old promises, every I love you, every I got you, every we're forever. And then she stopped, because none of it felt real anymore. Another tear slid down her cheek, but she didn't wipe it away this time. Instead, she opened her camera, flipped it to selfie mode, and just stared. For a long moment, she said nothing, did nothing. Then, slowly, she pressed record. Back at the house, the tension reached a breaking point when someone shouted, "She just went live." Everyone froze. Phones were grabbed instantly, screens lighting up as they rushed to her profile. And there she was, sitting in her car, face pale, eyes distant, completely still. "Hey," she finally said, her voice soft, almost too soft. The comments exploded instantly. Fans were shocked. Hearts flooded the screen, messages pouring in asking if she was okay, telling her to stay strong, begging her to talk. But Yandy didn't react to any of it. She just kept staring into the camera. You ever give everything to someone, she began slowly, and still end up with nothing? Back at the gathering, even Mendeecees had just stepped outside, stopped in his tracks as he watched the live. His expression shifted for the first time that night, because something about her tone wasn't right. Back in the car, Yandy took a shaky breath. I stood by him, she continued, when nobody else did. I believed in him, when everybody said I shouldn't. Her voice cracked slightly, but she kept going. And this is what I get. The comments kept coming faster, more desperate now. People were tagging her friends, urging someone to go get her, to make sure she was safe. But Yandy didn't seem to see any of it, or maybe she chose not to. I don't even recognize my life anymore, she admitted, her voice barely holding together. And then, she smiled. But it wasn't a happy smile. It was the kind that made everyone watching feel uneasy. Maybe it's time I stop fighting. Back at the house, someone gasped. What does that mean? Mendeecees immediately started dialing her number, his calm demeanor completely gone now, but it went straight to voicemail. Pick up, he muttered under his breath. Yandy, pick up. Back in the car, the live continued. I'm tired, she said simply, and for a moment, it felt like time stopped, because nobody knew what she was about to do next, and the fear was becoming very real. As the screen kept rolling and thousands watched in shock, one thing became painfully clear. This wasn't just heartbreak anymore. This was something much deeper, and if someone didn't reach her soon, there was no telling how far she might go. The silence on the live felt heavier than anything she had said so far, like the air itself was holding its breath. Thousands of people were watching, commenting, pleading, but Yandy remained still. Her eyes fixed somewhere beyond the camera, somewhere far away. Yandy, please talk to us. One comment read, you are not alone, another said, someone go get her. Fans began tagging everyone connected to her life, from friends to family to anyone who might know where she was. But inside that car, it was like none of it existed. Yandy exhaled slowly, her fingers tightening around her phone as if it was the only thing keeping her grounded. For a split second, her eyes flickered with something. Doubt? Maybe. Hesitation. Like a small part of her was still fighting. But then another memory hit her. Mendeecees laughing. Tamar standing beside him. That image. That moment. And just like that, the hesitation faded. You know what hurts the most? she said quietly, her voice barely above a whisper. It's not even that he left. She paused. It's how easy it was for him. Back outside the gathering, Mendeecees was pacing now, running his hands through his hair as he tried calling her again and again. Come on, he muttered, frustration turning into something closer to panic. Tamar stood a few feet away, watching him, her expression tense. What's happening? She asked. He didn't answer right away, still staring at his phone. She's not picking up, he finally said. Tamar crossed her arms, glancing back toward the house where others were still watching the live. This is getting serious, she said. You need to find her. He looked up sharply. I am trying. But the truth was, he had no idea where she was. Back in the car, Yandy's voice grew steadier, but not in a comforting way. It was the kind of calm that comes after a storm has already done its damage. I kept telling myself it was just a phase, she admitted, that things would get better, that he would come back to me, emotionally, at least. She let out a small, hollow laugh. I was lying to myself. The comments continued flooding in, faster than ever. Don't do anything you can't undo. Please stay with us. You matter. But the more people tried to reach her, the more distant she seemed. I gave him everything, she said again, this time more firmly. And now I don't even know who I am without him. Her hand moved slightly, reaching down at a frame for something. Viewers immediately noticed. What is she doing? Yandy, please. Back at the house, the tension exploded. We need to call someone, her sister said, her voice shaking. I already did, another friend replied. They're trying to track her location. Trying, her sister snapped. We don't have time to try. Meanwhile, Mendeecees had already gotten into his car, speeding off into the night with no clear destination. Just a desperate hope that he would somehow find her in time. Stay on the live, he told one of the friends over the phone. Don't lose her. Back in the car, Yandy brought her hand back into view, and whatever she was holding made the comments go wild. No, Yandy, stop. Please don't. Her eyes dropped to the object in her hand, her expression unreadable. Funny, she said softly. I used to be so scared of losing him. She looked back at the camera. I never thought I'd lose myself instead. Her words sent a wave of panic through everyone watching. Back on the road, Mendeecees slammed his hand against the steering wheel. Where are you? He muttered, his voice filled with urgency now. For the first time, the reality of the situation seemed to hit him. This wasn't drama. This wasn't something that could be fixed with a conversation later. This was happening now, and it might already be too late. Back in the car, Yandy's breathing grew uneven again, her composure starting to crack. I just wanted to be enough, she admitted, her voice breaking. That's it. I just wanted to be enough for him. A tear rolled down her cheek, and this time, she didn't try to hide it. But I guess I never was. The comments turned frantic. You are enough. Don't let this define you. We love you. And for a moment, just a moment, her eyes softened as she read them. You don't even know me, she said quietly. But even as she said it, there was a hint of something else in her tone. Conflict, because deep down, part of her knew those people, those strangers, were trying to save her in a way no one else could right now. Back at the house, someone shouted, we got her location. Everyone rushed over. Where is she? The answer came out shaky. The Overlook, outside the city. Yandy's sister didn't hesitate. I'm going. You're not going alone, another friend said, grabbing their keys. Within seconds, they were rushing out the door, the urgency now impossible to ignore. Back in the car, Yandy closed her eyes for a moment, gripping the object tighter in her hand. I'm just so tired, she whispered again, but this time, it sounded final. Back on the road, Mendeecees' phone rang. He answered immediately. Where is she? The Overlook, the voice said. He didn't respond. He just pressed the gas harder, his car surging forward as adrenaline took over. Back in the live, something shifted. Yandy opened her eyes again, but they looked different now. Emptier, like she had made a decision. I think, she started slowly. This is the only way to make the pain stop. No. The comments flooded in instantly. Yandy, please, don't do this. Back at the Overlook, the wind picked up slightly, brushing against the car as the engine continued to idle. And then, headlights appeared in the distance. Far away, but getting closer. Back inside, Yandy didn't notice. Or maybe, she chose not to. I hope one day, he understands what he did, she said softly. Her hand lifted slightly. The comments became unreadable, moving too fast, filled with fear, desperation, and disbelief. Fans were shocked. Emotions ran high, and the world seemed to freeze in that single moment, because no one knew what was about to happen next. And just as the headlights drew closer, Yandy took a deep breath, and everything hung in the balance. The headlights grew brighter, cutting through the darkness as the car sped closer to the overlook. Tires screeching slightly as it took the turn too fast. Gravel scattered beneath the wheels as the vehicle came to a sudden stop just a few feet behind Yandy's car. Inside, she flinched at the sound. For the first time in what felt like hours, her focus shifted away from the camera. Her brows furrowed slightly as she glanced into the rearview mirror, the bright lights forcing her to squint. "Someone's here," she murmured, almost confused. The live was still running, thousands still watching, their comments now shifting from panic to desperate relief. "Thank God. Someone found her. Please let it be in time." Outside, the car door slammed shut. Footsteps rushed forward, quick, uneven, filled with urgency. "Yandy," it was her sister. Her voice cracked as she ran toward the car, followed closely by another friend who was already dialing emergency services, their voice shaking as they tried to explain the situation. Inside the car, Yandy froze. Her grip loosened slightly. That voice, it broke through something. "Yandy, open the door," her sister cried, reaching the window, her hands pressing against the glass as tears streamed down her face. "Please, just open the door." For a moment, Yandy didn't move. Her eyes flickered between the phone and her sister outside. Two worlds, one pulling her deeper into the darkness, the other begging her to come back. "You don't understand," Yandy whispered, her voice trembling. Her sister shook her head desperately. "Then help me understand. Just don't do this. Please." The friend behind her leaned closer, trying to catch a glimpse inside. "She's holding something," they said urgently. "Yandy, listen to me. You need to put that down." The comments on the live exploded again, fans reacting in real time. "Open the door, Yandy, please. You can get through this." Back on the road, another car was approaching fast. Mendeecees. His heart was pounding so hard it felt like it might burst out of his chest. His hands gripped the steering wheel tightly, his jaw clenched, his mind racing with every possible outcome. "Just hold on," he muttered. "Just hold on." Back at the overlook, Yandy's breathing became uneven again. "It's too late," she said softly, shaking her head. "No, it's not," her sister shouted immediately. "Look at me. Look at me." Yandy hesitated. Slowly, she lifted her gaze. Their eyes met. And in that moment, something shifted. Her sister's voice softened, but the urgency never left. "You're still here? Do you hear me? You're still here. That means it's not too late." Yandy's lip trembled. The object in her hand shook slightly. "I don't know how to fix this," she admitted, her voice breaking completely now. "You don't have to fix it tonight," her sister replied quickly. "You just have to stay." That word stay. It lingered in the air. Back in the distance, Mendeecees' car finally came into view, headlights cutting across the scene as he pulled up aggressively, barely putting the car in park before jumping out. "Yandy," he shouted, running toward her. Her expression changed instantly. Pain, anger, confusion. All of it came rushing back at once. "No," she whispered, shaking her head as tears fell faster now. "No, not him." Her sister glanced back, frustration flashing across her face. "What are you doing here?" she snapped as Mendeecees approached. "Move," he said quickly, his voice desperate. "I need to talk to her." "Talk," her sister shot back. "You think talking is enough right now." But he didn't respond. His focus was entirely on Yandy. He stepped closer to the car, his voice softer now, almost unrecognizable from earlier. "Yandy, look at me." She didn't. Instead, she stared straight ahead, her hand tightening again around what she was holding. "Please," he said, his voice cracking. "Just look at me." A long pause. And then, slowly, she turned her head. Their eyes met, and the silence between them said everything words couldn't. "Why?" she asked, her voice barely audible. It was a simple question, but it carried years of love, pain, sacrifice, and betrayal all at once. Mendeecees swallowed hard, clearly struggling to find the right words. "It's not what you think," he said finally. Her expression shifted instantly. Hurt turned into disbelief. "Not what I think," she repeated, her voice rising slightly. "I saw it. Everyone saw it. It wasn't supposed to happen like this," he continued, stepping closer. "Then how was it supposed to happen?" She shot back, her emotions flaring. "You were just going to tell me later. Or, not at all." He hesitated, and that hesitation said everything. Yandy let out a broken laugh, shaking her head. "Exactly." Her sister watched the exchange nervously, stepping in slightly. "This is not the time for this," she said firmly. "We need to focus on getting her out of the car." But the tension between Yandy and Mendeecees was impossible to ignore. "You broke me," Yandy said suddenly, her voice steady but filled with pain. Do you understand that? Mendeecees took another step forward. I never wanted to hurt you, but you did, she replied instantly. And now you're here acting like this is something you can just fix. Her hand trembled again. Everyone noticed. Yandy, her sister said softly, her voice filled with fear. Mendeecees raised his hands slightly, trying to stay calm. Just put that down, he said. We can figure everything else out. Figure it out, she repeated, her voice cracking again. You already figured it out. You chose. That word hit hard. Chose because deep down, they all knew it was true. He had made a choice. And now they were dealing with the consequences. The wind picked up again, the tension in the air almost unbearable. Yandy's breathing grew heavier, her chest rising and falling rapidly as the weight of everything pressed down on her. I don't want to feel like this anymore, she admitted, her voice shaking. Then don't go through it alone, her sister said immediately. We're right here. We're all here, the friend added. Even Mendeecees nodded. I'm here too. Yandy looked at him sharply. That's the problem. Silence, thick, uncomfortable, real. Because in that moment it wasn't just about heartbreak anymore. It was about trust. And once that's broken, it's not so easy to rebuild. Yandy closed her eyes tightly, tears streaming down her face as she struggled to breathe steadily. I just wanted us, she whispered. No one spoke, because there was nothing left to say that could undo what had already been done. But there was still one thing left that could be changed. What happened next? Her hands slowly lifted again. Everyone tensed. Yandy, please, her sister begged, her voice breaking completely now. Don't do this. Mendeecees stepped even closer, his voice urgent. This is not the answer. Yandy's eyes opened again, and this time, they were filled with something different. Not just pain, not just anger, but a quiet, terrifying resolve. The kind that made everyone's heart stop, because no one knew if they had reached her in time. And as the live continued to stream, with thousands watching, unable to look away, everything came down to this one moment, one choice, one decision that would change everything forever. The world seemed to narrow down to the sound of her breathing. Everything else faded. The wind, the voices, even the flashing comments on the live, all of it became distant as Yandy sat there, her hands still raised. Her mind caught between two realities pulling her in opposite directions. Yandy, her sister's voice came through again, softer now, fragile. Please come back to us. That word, us, it lingered in the air longer than anything else. Because for the first time that night, Yandy wasn't just thinking about what she lost. She was thinking about what was still there. Her grip loosened slightly, just slightly, but everyone saw it. That's it, her friend whispered. Keep talking to her. Mendeecees took a cautious step forward, his voice no longer defensive, no longer guarded, just raw. I messed up, he said quietly. Those 3 words hit differently than anything he had said before. Yandy's eyes flickered. I messed up. Bad, he continued, his voice shaking. And I can't take that back. I can't undo what you saw.